Medlab is an Australian biotechnology company focused on the delivery of medicinal solutions and hope for patients with unmet needs. And with me is the CEO, Sean Hall, to explain about the company. And let's start with your proprietary platform. It's a NanoCelle platform. And
Correct.
so I think tiny.
Tiny.
That's what you're working with, right?
I mean, real small. And in fact, I was just up in Boston presenting this at a pharmaceutical summit. So we have a platform. We've had it validated independently. We've used it in a couple of approved medicines back home. The big stuff is in the pain and mental health areas that we're working on now. But this platform really allows us to get very small amounts of a drug, so small doses, into the body in a holistic way, in a way that bypasses this gastrointestinal tract, which we call first-pass metabolism, which is super important because I can put this into the inside of your cheek. It's in your body within minutes, not 48 minutes this way, but it's also in higher concentrations. Let me try to put it this way.
Okay.
Think you go to a doctor, they prescribe a pill, you go to the pharmacist, you swallow it. We know from medicine that default rules of thumb is if you swallow something, you're going to lose 90% of its value. What if I told you that doesn't have to be the case with medicines anymore? So we can move away from medicines that are 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, and we can get therapeutic outcomes for a couple of milligrams. And what that does for us is it immediately changes the safety profile of the medicine with the patient. So we've built a delivery platform that's really, in industry terms, bioavailable and has real meaning towards the safety and the efficacy of the drug that we intend the person to take. Right? So to that, we presented this up in Boston. It was unique. It got standing ovation. Our work has been, as I said, validated by universities back home and by a couple of other commercial outfits that we're working with. But, a university behind it, say the science is real, we can quantify it and we can repeat it, is meaningful to us. We now have publications out there in medical literature. The end result of this is we now have patents on this platform in every Western country around the world out for the next 15 years. So we're really strong.
So let me make sure I understand. So then this delivery method allows you to be more efficient with the medicine. That would make it reduce, I guess, overdoses or side effects.
Correct.
Maybe even reduce the cost at some point. You can deliver it through, as you said, the cheek instead of orally. That makes it more efficient as well.
Correct.
Okay.
So for a patient point of view, if I really want to push this to the end, we have a pain medicine that we're working on now. And we can get a month's supply into a 15 milliliter bottle. A month's supply of the medicine. So it's now becoming very patient-centric in how we look at not just the medicine, the handling of the medicine, but also the delivery of the medicine to the patient.
And this is mainly for pain management?
In this particular case, yes. But we've utilized this medicine. We had to do this for our patent work. We took a whole heap of generic drugs. So atorvastatin, which you might know as Lipitor, fexofenadine, which you would know as Allegra, and ones like this. And we did 23 different examples of being able to nanoparticle those medicines, change their solubility, improve the drug model that would go into a medicine, and subsequent to that, every patent office, including the one here, the USPTO, hands up and granted the patent.
So this could be applied to all kinds of medicines?
Correct.
So, and you have a patent on it?
Big.
I would imagine you would.
Huge. As I said, 15 years out, so 2036, the primary patent comes off. So part of the Medlab team has gone into commercialization. So they're working with big named pharma now on, you need this in that to make this safer or make this better. And they'll quantify that statement. For us, true to our ASX shareholders, we have two programs that we are running with back home. One is called Nanobus. It's in cancer pain. The other is got a project name of MDC 2000, and that's in the mental health scope.
Okay.
And the reason we're focusing on these two is our opinion, these are the next big things in medicine. We had COVID. Before COVID, everyone was doing a type 1 diabetic blockbuster. Before that, everyone was into cholesterol-lowering drugs. Right? But when we look at the stats and we try and apply that philosophy of unmet needs, and the US is probably the worst model to look at. The people who are reliant on opioids who are, in many cases, abusing opioids. Before COVID was bad, after COVID, it's near ridiculous. World Health Organization, if I flip to the pain model on their website, it says 5% of the global population every year, without fail, has a mental health event.
Okay.
Right? So we're not doing enough in these areas, and I think as HMOs get pushed for payouts, as doctors are pushed to prescribe more medicines or better medicines, as patients become more vocal in social media, it's all going to amass, and these will be the next big things in medical care.
Well, it definitely feels like there's more of an awareness. So you're hearing more like public officials talk about mental health. Of course, COVID, drove us all crazy.
I nearly fell off my chair yesterday morning. I kid you not. I was watching the local news. An ad came on, you know how you have your midterms? The politicians are polarizing this because one has stood up and said he is against the current administration because they support the influx of fentanyl out of China, right? But it is being polarized on all fronts. With this groundswell, it's only a matter of time before public voice becomes too big. You can't not do anything about it. So we're positioning ourselves for medicines that are non-opioid, but work just as good. That's significant. For medicines that improve how antidepressant medications work. So in one case, we have a standalone medicine in pain. In the other case, we have what we call an adjuvant or a co-therapy that's used with an antidepressant to improve patient outcomes.
So you'd use the NanoCelle technology then to distribute this medicine as well? Just
Correct.
Like you would
Bypass all this because this is our biggest hurdle. There's a reason why medicines keep getting stronger and stronger each year. The efficacy is just waning. And the fact that most medicines we take, we swallow, means that we're going to lose so much through this degradation.
Right.
From my point of view as a doctor, for you, the pill is the best way to take the medicine. For me, it's probably the most inefficient way to give the medicine. So we need to find new ways.
So, and that brings us to the disruptive medicine.
Correct.
And that's really, we've heard kind of personalized medicine too.
Correct.
They're similar, right?
Yes and no. Personalized medicine really focuses on the physician looking at you as a whole and designing an intervention program that is solely for you, right? As much as I hate to say it, medicine is a flowchart. Does patient have X? Yes, no.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
This is about doing away with that flowchart and saying, right, Jane is Jane. Jane has this and this and this and this and this, and I've got to do care plans that support Jane holistically. Right? And there is a growing number of physicians that really do support the personalised medicine programs, and they differ a little bit, but the tenets of that is there. What we're trying to do is bring a platform together that repurposes a lot of our old medicines, right? That moves away from medical toxicity profiles, reduces side effects, which gives new prescription hope to those doctors who would look at a Jane and say, yes, this suits or this does not suit, right? So it's not so much we're out there to change medical policy on how a patient is viewed and the treatment programs that they would attract. We're there to provide safer, more meaningful, better medicines.
Well, and the reduction of side effects, I think, would help people's quality of life and their ability to stick with the program of taking medicine.
Correct.
So that could be really life-changing for people. So you were in Boston. Let's finish up with this. Tell me about what was that and what was your presentation there about?
So two parts. I did a presentation on, it was the International Cannabinoid Pharmaceutical Summit, or words to that effect.
Okay.
And it was really about what it takes for all those cannabis type things to make it through as an approved medicine. And it was 3 or 4 days. I presented the NanoCelle platform because we do have work in cannabinoids. We just hate using that term because most people think, the pot shop down the road and, I can do a bit of this. And it's not what it's about. We do use cannabinoids, but we have very strong bias to synthetics. And most people in the cannabis space just hates that because it's not botanical, it's not whole plant, blah, blah, blah. But we are designing a medicine. It was a good couple of days. Then one side of the equation, you had banks and analysts, you had a few lawyers, You had some people in suits. I have no idea where they came from, so we'll just park that there. And then you had a lot of researchers, both academic, private, a number of biotechs, and you had one or two of the big cannabis companies who wanted us to believe that their pharma-like approach was pharma, right? We were one of the few that put up platform work, and we spoke about validation, where the validation exists. We then applied this back to a program, the pain program we have called Nanobus, and we focused on adverse events, because all medicines have adverse events, right? It's immature for us to believe for a second that there is no side effect to a medicine, right? I could argue that there's side effects to most foods, obesity, cardiovascular disease, to name some. And we presented data holistically that really did show the work we're doing in the pain area, the patient journeys that we are discovering, the fact that we have 1,100 patients somewhere between 6 and 12 months in trial programs, so we've got long data, big data, really does start to address deep safety and tolerability concerns of a medicine. We still do believe that within the next few years, we should be putting together a new drug application for what we would hope would be a non-opioid analgesic. Our bend on this in the first instance is in the oncology arena.
Okay. Well, I hope you come back and keep us up to date on
Love
all
to,
these
love
interesting
to.
things you're doing, Sean. So thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you.